Welcome to the Progtalks by the Prog Space. Welcome to the Progtalks, an interview series by the Prog Space where we will be talking to musicians in all corners of the progressive music scene.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Progtalks. Welcome back to the Progtalks, and welcome back after the summer break. Before we jump into today's topic and welcome today's guests, as always, please don't forget to get us a cup of coffee, and you can also get this cup without the coffee in our merch store. It helps us out a lot. And now, all the way from Australia, calling Mike Mills from Toehider. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's 12 midday here in Munich, Germany. It's evening all the way down under, right?
Yeah, that's a window behind me. It's pitch black out there. It's about 8 in the evening. Yeah.
Wow, all right. So, Mike, you got a new album coming out with Toehider as we record this next week, September 9th. And the album is called I Have Little to No Memory of These Memories. Do you have any memories of recording this album?
Yeah, it's been I think I started working on this record before the pandemic, or before all of the lockdown started, so maybe 2019 or something like that, maybe even slightly earlier. But as the lockdowns happened, not much work actually got done. So until things started to open up again. So it's been. I do have some memory of it though. It's taken me 2 or 3 years to put together, but it feels good to finally have it done.
So you started working on it before the previous album, I Like It, was released, because that one was out in 2020, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I was working. Yeah, I had a bit of the music done already. At the same time, I released I Like It,
and the concept as well. Was that clear from the very beginning that you wanted to do a 47-minute song?
Not really. I mean, the story of the album has been floating around in my head probably since far back as high school or something. But the idea to do a full one big continuous long piece of music only really happened. Maybe I was halfway through the album or something like that. It's hard to remember. I think that's when it was.
So it's quite a big jump from composing 49 songs. Is that correct, for I Like It? And then together with your patrons, you decided which ones were going on the album I Like It. Now it was just one big chunk of music. But of course, there's different sections and there's different moods and styles and whatnot. And you also released a single, so to speak. How was it to find a section that you thought might work as a single?
Well, that particular section was written. It's probably one of the first sections I worked on the whole song, and at that point, I really did just write it with the idea of it just being a single song. So,
okay.
So that was quite simple. It was quite an easy decision to make.
I had the opportunity to listen to the album already, and so it starts with this kind of a cappella section, and then there's at one point there's this single section, and then there's a slower section that I feel like it's kind of a tribute to Ronnie James Dio or something. I think that would work as a standalone song as well, because it's just so different from the rest. But the one you chose is obviously like very typical Toehider hyperactive stuff with lots of backing vocals and very fast and quirky.
Yeah. I think I know the section you mean, and
it's around 20 minutes in, I think.
Yeah, it's sort of like kind of quite a slow paced kind of thing. I'm a huge fan of Dio. I love particularly the 90s albums like Strange Highways and Angry Machines and stuff. I think they're really raw and really heavy and really quite complicated. Like some of the music's quite complex as well. So yeah, that's exactly the kind of vibe that I was going for with that part. So yeah, that's good that you recognize that. That's cool.
Great. So for those who maybe haven't heard of Toehider or are not that familiar with the project, it's mainly you, whereas the music is concerned. You do all the stuff, and then there's Andy Saltmarsh doing the visuals, drawings, and all that. Keeping with the music, I'm always wondering when there's a project, a band, or just an artist releasing music on their own, that you really dependent only on yourself, on your skills. I saw you picked up playing the drums as well before being known as a prolific singer and guitarist. And so at one point I was just wondering what comes next, which instrument are you gonna learn next? And on the other hand, the second question would be, do you think it's for you personally rather an advantage or a disadvantage to having a full band of specialists on their instruments?
Okay, yeah, sure. When I first started doing the Toehider thing, it was out of a response of, I guess, kind of getting frustrated with the more band-oriented approach of rehearsing parts, or in my particular case, the band before I was this one, we tried to write music together as a three-piece band, and it was a very slow process because everybody had to sign off on all the songs and we were constantly making changes. So once that band more or less fell apart, I really took it upon myself to just try to do everything myself, so I wouldn't have to rely on anyone else, and I could get things done a lot quicker. And so yeah, I at that point I was a singer and guitar player, but I also dabbled in drums. I did maybe a few shows here and there playing drums, but I was certainly like it was still quite a primitive player. So over the years, the Toehider music has always kind of been a mixture of drums that I've played, and some of the more fancy sounding drum fills and things were programmed or played at half speed, and then I'd speed them up. I use all sorts of studio trickery to kind of get through it. And I've just sort of gotten more and more into practicing drums over the years, and yeah, it's especially in lockdown. Actually, it was a lot of fun. So it got me through it. But I'm a lousy keyboard player. I try to sit down and I try to practice and work at it, but for whatever reason, I just can't seem to get anything to stick. So the majority of keyboard parts on the albums is sequenced or programmed. But maybe I'll find the motivation. Maybe one day it will click for me. But we'll see.
Yeah, we already mentioned your Patreon campaign briefly. That was pretty vital to especially the previous album, but also I think during the last 2 years, everyone knows that it's been a strange couple of years now, and so how important was it for you to have this Patreon community to keep you going and keep things afloat during this period?
It was absolutely vital. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have been able to get through it and had not had that tremendous amount of support from the people that have been on Patreon. So everything else kind of fell apart, and in terms of other sources of income and things like that. And the patrons were really there for us. Yeah, extremely grateful that it worked out the way it did. I have some really, really dedicated people who are very invested in what we're doing here. So I really want to honour that, and I can't thank them enough. Really, it's overwhelming. It's great.
Wonderful. You also did like a lot of streaming, like last year, the full moon streams, and now you're still streaming regularly, I think twice a week on Twitch even. And you also did a couple of 24-hour streams on New Year's Eve, for example. So, how do you prepare? Do you prepare it all for a stream, or do you just let the camera or the stream roll and see where it leads?
A little bit of both, really. I do a lot of cover songs and things on there as well, so I'm usually trying to prepare for that, not only learning the song, but also recording backing tracks that I can kind of play along with and all the rest of it. But for those bigger, more epic 24-hour streams, it's actually less planning, I think. Like, it's really just sitting, if we can get through it and not fall asleep. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I haven't actually done any streaming for maybe the last month or so, so I've been busy moving into a new studio space, but that's all kind of finished now. So hopefully we'll get back into it once the album comes out in a week or two. It'll be good.
Cool. And how many times do you get a request to play that Cage Bush song?
That's right. I've done it a few times on stream, I think. That's an interesting. That's a touchy subject you're touching on there. So, proceed with
I just wanted to say, is it a more blessing or a curse?
It actually turned out it kind of fried my brain a little bit having that video go somewhat viral and just deleting it off my YouTube because it was getting so much more attention than as cover songs usually do. You know, people are more drawn to things that they're familiar with, which makes sense. But I think it was. I really didn't want to go down the path of a YouTube cover artist. I wanted to put more importance on stuff I was writing. So, I had to take it down. But it's still up there. Someone else has put it up there, so it's still available in some form. This is the internet, after all. The things always happening around.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of the internet, you have some. Every now and then you come up with fun questions on your social media, and one I thought was particularly funny. You said that artists are either overrated or underrated, and you were asking your fans which artist do you think is adequately rated. So I wanted to give the question back to you. What do you think? Is there any artist you think is adequately rated?
Oh yeah. I'll have to think about that. I haven't actually thought about that myself. A band that's adequately rated, I would say, would be someone like Iron Maiden. How about that? That's a pretty solid answer. I think they seem to have a lot of. They've worked extremely hard to get to that point where they're at, and I think their success is kind of justified. So I think they're pretty fairly rated, I would say.
Yeah, solid answer. I have the feeling that a lot of the bigger bands, I don't know, like Tool or there's so many bands that have like super diehard fans that and they can do nothing wrong and everything is godlike what they put out. So when you look or listen to those fans, it's I think it's always more in the direction of overrated.
Yeah,
because it's just like blindly following and saying, "Oh my God, these are geniuses! They are so amazing! Everything they put out, it's pure gold." And
yeah, it's like it's really that brand loyalty thing, and it happens with products as much as it does with artists as well. Like for whatever reason, the human brain has a tendency to connect with things, and sometimes it connects it fuses so hard, so heavily that it's hard to break out from that.
Yeah, it's becomes a bit obsessive.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, which is fine. I think a lot of those bands. Also, there's also smaller bands, of course, with super dedicated hardcore fans, and some of their success is also thanks to them. But I sometimes I have the feeling, come on, there's other bands that are good as well.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, coinciding with the new album release, I have little to no memory of these memories. You also put out some new merch, and I just saw the gorgeous new Stork t-shirt in lovely purple. And I just thought, damn, I would love to have it, but then I would put it on and you wouldn't be able to read the logo.
That's right. Yeah. You have to tie it up into or plait it like a Viking style or something. Yeah. Yeah, I should have put it a little lower, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, there's Toehider merch out there. And there's also Bandcamp Friday again. Actually, today, as we're recording this, September 2nd, there is the first of a new string of Bandcamp Fridays. Next week, when the album's gonna come out, there's no Bandcamp Friday, but do get it anyways, or at least next month. It should be on October 7th, I think.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, would be the first Friday in October. So do mark your calendars for the release of I Have Little to No Memory of These Memories on September 9th. And then the next Bandcamp Friday on October 7th, if I'm not mistaken. Now, as you're a one-man band, and well, the pandemic is not over, but there's live music at least possible again in most of the world. Is there any plans at any point for you to get back with some people on stage to play Toehider for a live audience, not only through streaming?
Yeah, I have been talking to the guys that I play in Australia with here, and we really want to do it, and we really want to honour that idea of band releases a concept album, so they go out and play the entire album. But we've also faced with the problem that we also got an album that came out a couple of years ago that never played any of those songs live either. So, and as you say, it's a one-man recording project, and I'm really not of them, for better or worse. I never really think about, this will work live or this won't work live.
Playability.
Yeah, totally. And I'm in two minds with the current trend of bands going out and playing with backing tracks and things like that. Once again, I can see advantages and disadvantages to that. So there's a few little problem-solving things I have to work out in my head first, but the want to do it is definitely there. I would love to go out and play some of these songs and some of this music live for the people.
Well, if you play the 47-minute new album, new song in its entirety, there should be still a couple of spots left for other songs to play in a decent set time and a decent playing time, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if we sort of aim for the 60 to 90-minute set, then maybe that would be achievable. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, but yeah, definitely the want to do it is there.
And for us here in Germany or in Europe, I mean to say, in the last years, let's say, before the pandemic, the best chance of seeing you live was with the Aryan shows in the Netherlands, of course. And I think the Aryan community is also eagerly and anxiously waiting on any announcement of any further Aryan live show, perhaps next year, hopefully next fall in 2023. And I would assume if that's going to happen that you're going to be part of it as well again.
As I've said before, with anything that Aryan does, any chance to be involved in what he's doing is, I would definitely jump at the chance. So hopefully hopefully what you said is true. Hopefully there's some plans to do some things next year. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I would say bring your mates and do some Toehider gigs around it.
Yeah, well, I've actually I've got a Swedish bass player and drummer who we've done some festivals and some shows.
Yeah, I remember you played Prog Power, right? Prog Power.
That's right.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we also played some shows with another Australian band who have broken up now called The Beards. I don't know if you know that band. All of their songs are about beards.
I gotta check them out.
Really good band. Yeah, unfortunately they stopped playing a few years ago now. So it would be great to go and play some shows in Europe. I feel like Toehider is actually a lot more popular in Europe than it is in Australia. For whatever reason, I can't get people to be interested. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Something just doesn't land. But in Europe, it's definitely a little bit more.
Yeah, talking about Australia, from here, it looks like the prog scene seems to be pretty all right there. I mean, a lot of amazing prog bands coming from there, and also I like a couple of cool tours or also touring festivals like I don't know, Prog Fest or whatever the name was. There's like so any chance to get on that bandwagon?
Yeah, sure. I haven't really heard. We actually, Toehider has done every Prog Fest since its inception back in maybe 2010, and it started out being, just an Australian band only kind of festival, but then it's in recent years it's sort of branched out to get bands like Lacrosse or trying to think of other bands that were there was the Ocean Collective, I think. I'm trying to think of who headlined it last time, but I haven't heard since pandemic. I'm not sure what the situation is with the Australian Prog Fest shows, but we'll always be a part of that. We go back a long time with the organisers of that festival, so it would be good if that kicked off again.
Yeah, I think those little festivals, I don't know the size, but those smaller festivals, also like Prog Power Europe, they're like a real beautiful hub of just music lovers coming together and celebrating live music, their favorite kind, the prog kind.
Yeah, like the vibe on those festivals is always, the focus is 100% on the music and not about getting wasted.
Yeah, this year I was lucky enough already to that I could attend Prognosis and then Radar Festival. And at the end of the month, beginning of October, there's going to be the next Prog Power Europe, which I'm super looking forward to. Very, very stoked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so great to have live music back. I hope you guys will figure it out and will also be able to perform. I have little to no memory of these memories live You guys out there, thank you for listening, and don't forget to check out Toehider on the socials. We're gonna link it on screen and in the description and everywhere as always. Check Toehider out on Twitch and on Patreon as well, not only on the regular socials. Very important. And Mike, thank you so much for taking the time. All the best with the new album with that long name and the long playing time.
Yeah, that's everything about it's long. Well, thank you. No, thanks for the opportunity to chat with you today. It's been great.
So signing out for today. One last little reminder of that cup of coffee, and don't forget to check out our socials.
As you held that up, you'll need to link me as where I can get one of those mugs as well, because
I will.
I'm a big fan of mugs, Prog Space mug.
We got a few, like also Black One and stuff, in our online shop. That's it for today. Hopefully see you next week with another guest. And until then, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and keep spreading that prog love.
The Progtalks, produced by the Prog Space. Main host, Rune Belsvik Reinås. Produced by Rune Belsvik Reinås, Vanessa and Matthias Kirsch. All graphics and animations by Vanessa Kirsch. Intro theme by Giuseppe Negri. Outro theme by Zach Munowitz. This was the Progtalks by the Prog Space. See you in a week.